Welcome back to our entrepreneurship class. So, starting the second quarter, we're still going to continue our discussion about the topics under developing a business plan. So, previously, we already discussed the recognition and understanding of the potential market and the market. So, right now, we're going to discuss about the importance of marketing mix in the development of the marketing strategy. Under this lesson, so we already done with the marketing mix or the 7 Ps in relation to the business opportunity. So right now, we're going to the next topic, develop a brand name. Can you identify below brands? I think yes, because they are very well-known brands locally and internationally. So we have Audi, Starbucks, Jordan, Nike, and Shell. So, have you thought of um what does brand means, or how did they develop this logo or this design, or how did they develop their name? How did they develop their brand name? So for today, we're going to discuss on how to develop a brand name. What do you mean by brand? How can you develop them? So, brand is a name, term, design, symbol, or any other features that identifies one seller's good or service as distinction from those of other sellers. Imagine a market that is full of sellers. So how can you differentiate one seller from another? How can you stand out your product or your business among your competitors? So the first thing to do is to develop your own brand. So for today, we're going to discuss your branding. If you are ready to brand yourself or your business, you need to have a clear understanding of what developing a brand involves before you really get started. Your brand development process should always follow these steps. So first one is to decide what you're going to brand. Are you branding a product or a service, a company or an individual? So, if a product, think of something that you think your target will be interested. So, it might be tangible or intangible item that is easy to make and available with the supplier. Like for example, this COVID pandemic or this pandemic, it is very popular and needed that we have alcohol at home or always on our bags. So that can be your product, that alcohol. So you will brand that alcohol. So if it is a service, think of a demand in the market today. As we are experiencing pandemic, what do you think is a possible service that could provide to your target market? So, ano ba yung mga service like for example, a cleaning services with disinfecting. So, 'di ba maraming tao na naghahanap na makapag-disinfect nung buong bahay nila mismo. Um, also, if you're establishing a company, so you will ask the question that who will compose your team or your workforce? Do they have enough funding to establish a company? So, if individual naman, are you ready to create your own business alone? So, that's the first step in developing your brand. So, again, you decide what you're going to brand. Second step, do your research. So since you've already decided on what you're going to brand, so kailangan mo na ngayong mag-research about that. So first, find out everything there is to know about the market. Then find out everything there is to know about your product or your service. Research and development is an important factor to be successful. So it is a way of knowing what product or service a demand in a market will be. Next step is to position your product or your service. So find and win a place for your offering in the market and in consumers' mind. So, yun yung ipoposition mo. So, kailangan mong hanapin yung position ng product and service mo sa marketplace and also in the consumer's mind. So, how can you do that? So, it is by providing unique solutions to problems or need that aren't already being addressed by competing products. So, a place is a position and distribution channel of the product to make it accessible to the potential buyers. So in here, you must examine and study the location of your buyer to easily deliver the product that your customer needs. So in the customer's perspective, they will choose a product or service nearest to their residence. So when they encounter problem to the product or service, it will be easy for them to return for a replacement. So for example, in your community, merong school. So, ano ba yung usually na kinakailangan sa isang school? Or, syempre, may mga estudyante, ano yung normally na kailangan ng mga students? So, for example, within your community, wala pang nagbebenta ng school supplies, then that might be your products. So, titignan mo and kailangan mo i-examine yung location mo. And at the same time, kung sino yung nakakaraming customers or kung sino ba yung target market mo within the community. So after you establish the position of your product or your service, so next step will be write your brand definition. So what is brand definition? So it describes what you offer, why you offer it, how your offering is different and better, what unique benefits your customers can count on, and what promise or set of promises you make to all who work with and buy from your business. So, in writing your brand, it is important that you know your mission, vision, and objectives. So, describe your brand that is easy to remember and catchy messages to your target customers. So, sobrang importante na alam mo yung mission, vision, and objectives mo. Kasi diyan magsisimula kung bakit mo gustong i-offer to or kung bakit mo i-offer yung brand na to. And then, doon din papasok yung mga planning na gagawin mo for your business. And then, always remember that kailangan catchy yung messages mo para makapture mo talaga yung target market mo. Number five, develop your name, logo, and tagline. So since you already established your mission, vision, and objectives, so ngayon naman, ang ide-develop mo naman is your name, your logo, and your tagline. So your name is a key that unlocks your brand image in your consumer's mind. So, your logo naman is a brand mark or symbol that serves as the face of your brand. And then, your tagline is a memorable phrase that provides consumers with a quick indication of your product, brand, and market position. So, for example, yung previous example natin sa last lesson is the Maybelline. So, when you heard the name Maybelline, so ano agad yung pumapasok sa isip ng mga consumers? So, makeup, ano ba, or mga magagandang klase ng lipstick, or ano pa ba yung famous? Yung mascara, 'di ba? Yung first ever product nila. And then, if you think of their logo, so it's just a simple Maybelline na nakalagay. So, iyon yung logo nila. So, that is their face of their brand. And then, how about their tagline? So, their tagline is, maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. So, that's a memorable phrase sa consumer na nag-i-indicate dung mga product and brand na binebenta nila sa market. But don't be confused on brand name and the business name, because business name refers to a name that is different from a true name of an individual, which is to be used or signed in connection with your business on any written or printed receipts, included business tax duties and fees collected to the business owners. So, for example, yung Maybelline, so their brand name is Maybelline, but the actual name of the corporation or of the business is, or the business name is Maybelline Company. And then, for example, Jollibee. So, you know the brand name na Jollibee, but the business name is Jollibee Foods Corporation. So, yung Jollibee Foods Corporation, so yun yung makikita mo dun sa receipts na tinatanggap mo from them. So, if i-check mo yon yung nasa bandang taas or minsan nasa bandang baba, so, makikita mo doon yung actual corporation name. So, if you have any receipts ngayon, makikita nyo, for example, McDonald's naman, actually, iba-iba yan eh. Depende dun sa franchisee. So, kung ano yung corporation name or business name ng franchisee, so, yun yung nakalagay dun sa receipt. So, again, don't be confused on brand name and business name. So after doing all of the previous steps, so we will go now to the number 6, wherein you will launch your brand. So your brand goes public when you unveil your name, logo, and slogan, and when you begin to tell your market the story of how your brand reflects what you stand for. So normally, a new brand must get to make a splash in the market if it's going to be successful. So you've got to stand out in the crowd to present your product or service. So in launching your brand, you need to make sure to allot enough time to prepare your presentation to the public. Giving yourself more time also helps to develop hype for your brand while giving you ample time to make sure that all is ready. Your goal is to develop a marketing strategy for launching your product or service. Make sure that your presentation belongs to your target audience. Kasi for those people who are not interested, so parang mababalewala yung promotion mo. So it is very much important, like yung mga previous lesson natin, to get to know your potential buyer. So in addition, make a research to your competitor to find out what niche they might be missing out on. Then go after the market. Like for example nga, noon, um, sa mga makeup brands, so normally mga lipstick, glossy, talaga nagta-transfer proof. So um ang ginawa ng mga companies is nag-launch sila ng mga matte lipsticks. So, parang iyon yung hahanapin mo. And then, kita nyo naman kapag naglo-launch ng brand, for example, yung mga makeup brands in collaboration with, for example, some YouTubers or some artists, talagang big siya. And then, talagang directly siya dun sa potential buyer or target market nila. So once you have launched your brand, you need to manage, leverage, and protect your brand. So ito na yung care and feeding phase of the branding process. So it is the step that leads to a strong, healthy, resilient brand. Parang just like good parenting, good branding management can be summed up in a single word: consistency. So, you need to be consistent. Hindi lang pwedeng sa simula ka lang maayos or sa simula mo lang talaga pinopromote yung products mo or sa simula ka lang talaga magaling. So, dapat continuous yung research, yung development ng product, and then yung pagkikare mo dun sa brand na nilaunch mo. So, again, don't forget this word, consistency. You need to be consistent. And also, your brand image is an important factor in determining your success, which is why it is necessary to make sure it's protected at all costs. Knowing how to prevent it from being diluted, damages, or taken advantage if misused by competitors, counterfeiters, or unrelated companies. So manage to apply and register your brand to the right agency for trademarking is one of the important things to remember to protect it. So again, yung trademark is a symbol, word, or words legally registered or established by use as representing a company or a product. So yung mga Google, McDonald's, Twitter, Pinterest, Android. So yung mga trademarks niyan is talagang naka-register in order for in order for them to protect their own brand or their own companies. So ibig sabihin kasi kapag may gumaya or something similar dun sa brand na binuo nila, so pwede silang magsampa ng kaso for that. Like, kung makikita nyo, yung iba, for example, Starbucks, tapos may magtayo ng isa pang company, Starbucks, but with a different spelling. So, since yung Starbucks is naka-trademark na talaga siya, or naka-register yung trademark niya, so meaning, bawal nang merong ibang company na gumawa nung parang katulad nung sa kanila. Same name, ganun. Pero kapag yung parang coffee shop na parang katulad din naman sa kanila is pwede yon. But the difference is yung brand image nila or yung mismong name nila is bawal gayahin kasi naka-register nga yun. So, also, di ba, nabanggit nga natin sa brand image na kailangan i-protect mo din yung brand mo from controversies or damages. Like, for example, balik tayo kay Maybelline. So, before, there is a reasonable evidence that Maybelline products were tested on animals. So, kasi also in 1989 rather, L'Oreal ceased to use animal testing in finished products prior to launch and committed to developing alternative method. So, parang makikita nyo doon sa competitor nila, hindi na gumagamit um, ng animal testing wherein si Maybelline is may reasonable evidence na nagtetest pa sila sa animal. So, that's a big criticism in their brand. And, of course, um, in some countries din kasi that animal testing is not required by law. So, that is a big issue. So, those things, so kailangan yung brand image and yung buong brand mo is you will protect them at all cost. Kasi para siyang pinaghirapan mo siya. So, kailangan is alagaan mo din siya ng mabuti and ingatan mo. Kasi kumbaga, 'di ba nga nabanggit natin na para siyang um, good parenting. So parang for example, for the girls, dinala mo siya ng 9 months. So parang pinaghirapan mo yung pagre-research, pagtatanong-tanong sa mga potential customers, and then naghirap ka na din sa pag-launch ng brand mo. So kailangan parang 'di ba yung pag-launch, iyon na yung pagpanganak mo sa brand mo. And then hindi naman dun matatapos. So kailangan mo ding alagaan yung tinatawag na pwede nating tawagin na yung business mo is yung baby mo. So hanggang sa lumaki siya, so kailangan consistent ka sa pag-aalaga dun. And for the last step, you need to realign your brand to keep it current. So occasionally, you can and you should change how your brand is presented. So from time to time, you need to update your brand presentation, the face of or yung face ng brand mo. So it is important because you need to keep it relevant to the market in which it lives. So perhaps the most obvious reason to refresh a brand is that its image has simple outgrown its effectiveness. So an update to visual elements is necessary to build upon the brand structure that is already known and loved. So as you all know, 'di ba? For example, Facebook. So, Facebook 10 years ago is a lot different from Facebook right now. So, kung mapapansin nyo din, talagang every now and then is nagbabago-bago din yung brand presentation niya. So, nakadepende din kasi yon kung ano na yung currently na kailangan or in demand, kumbaga, dun sa current situation. Like, for example, before, sa Facebook Messenger, wala yung parang sa Zoom na meeting. Normally, you can have a group video call, pero parang limited yung members na pwede. But right now, merong ginawa si Facebook to realign their brand. So, since online nga lahat ng learning, so gumawa din sila ng platform through Messenger na pwede na din kayong parang mag-online class doon. So you don't need to go to Zoom or MS Teams or other online video platforms na magagamit mo for online school. So ganun yung um ibig sabihin dito sa realigning your brand to keep it current. So kailangan kasi hindi ma-outgrown yung brand mo kasi change is very constant here in the world. So kailangan is nag-update and nag-upgrade ka din in order for your brand to be alive. So, para mag-stick yung brand mo, para hindi siya ma-outgrown. So, like, for example din, yung nangyari kay Nokia. So, if you all know, Nokia is very famous before. So, siya talaga yung, parang kapag naka-Nokia ka is sobrang gandang phone, matibay, and then, siya talaga yung binibili noon. But, 'di ba, since na-outgrown nila yung business nila or yung mismong brand nila, natalo na sila ng Apple and then ng Android or yung mga Android phones which are Huawei, Oppo, Vivo. So, marami nang pumapasok ngayon, 'di ba? So, si Nokia, nawala na siya technically sa market. Though meron atang konti, but hindi na siya katulad nung position niya before. So, that's why, again, the very last step is very important na kailangan mong i-realign yung brand mo to keep it current and also to be um, the brand na mamahalin at kakailanganin nung mga tao or nung target market mo. Again, those are the steps of how can you develop your brand. So again, first, you decide what you're going to brand, you do your research, you position your product or your service, you write your brand definition, you develop your name, logo, and tagline, you launch your brand, you manage, leverage, and protect your brand, and last one, you realign your brand to keep it current. And that's the end of our lesson for part 3, the recognition and the importance of marketing mix in the development of the marketing strategy. So for your activity number 1 for the second quarter, so first is you develop your own brand name, logo, and tagline. So you can use Word or you can draw your brand or your logo. You can use Photoshop, Canva, or other materials that you can develop your own brand name, logo, and tagline. Then next one is launch your brand using art materials, old magazines, etc. So you can take a picture of it and then yun yung ilalagay nyo sa Word document na i-upload nyo sa Schoology. Or you can do a poster of your launch nung brand mo. So, something like that. So, if you have any ideas na parang gusto nyong gawin, so you can message me if that's possible. Again, if you have question on this activity or on our topic earlier, so feel free to message me. Okay? And that's all. Thank you, class, and God bless and be safe always. So if you don't need to go out, please don't go out. There's still a pandemic going on, 'di ba? Let's pray for this COVID-19 to end the soonest as possible. Okay, thank you, class. Bye.